Thursday, October 9th, 1958, His Holiness Pius XII passed away at dawn in his residence at Castel Gandolfo. 2 days of anguished uncertainty before his demise. An anxious throng had surrounded the papal villa in holy vigil. The whole world is at the altar of Christianity, mourning its spiritual father. Cardinal Tissera, the present deacon, came to temporarily assume the powers of the Church. The comfort of the faith was manifested by the cardinals. Pius XII was a leader among men, the vicar of Christ in all his saintly duties. But the time has come for his last temporal voyage. All of Rome awaits.
Rousseau, I asked them to prepare a tray for His Eminence.
Monsignor, I was wondering, when they hold the conclave to pick the new pope in Rome, how many other cardinals will be coming to vote?
51.
51? I thought there were more.
Huh.
So, while His Eminence is voting for someone, some of the others could be voting for him.
Yes. And?
Which means that he could become the next pope. And naturally, as a result, I would become his butler.
That's not a given.
What? That he'll become pope? Or I'll become his butler?
That you become his butler. Come on, take him his tray.
Roncalli, the Patriarch of Venice, is not exactly the ideal choice, but we must address the likelihood of his candidacy.
I see his candidacy as being at odds with the true interests of the Church.
We know which cardinals he is drawn to. Those who will bring change.
Yes, though he's always been pious and respectful of traditions, and has also demonstrated a great talent for diplomacy. Pius XII clearly recognized that, appointing him as his nuncio in France. He has many merits. Not excluding, as a matter of fact, that he's opportunely on in years and not without ailments.
In other words, of speaking of a brief papacy.
Well, a transitional one, during which time we can decide on a candidate that responds to our principles. A choice that would better represent us.
Angelo Roncalli is a simple man who has never betrayed his humble origins, with a goodness that sometimes borders on ingenuousness.
Forgive me if I contradict your thought, but that portrait you paint of the Patriarch Roncalli doesn't match the person I know. Under his guise of humility lies a razor-sharp acumen. Whoever doesn't understand that is highly ingenuous. Roncalli would leave his mark on the Church.
On the one hand, you praise him. On the other, you seem to want to deny him the greatest of glories.
The greatest of glories for Angelo is to serve the Lord.
Are you sure?
We have been friends from seminary days. He has a very strong, profound sense of friendship. I can tell you for a fact that after 50 years, he occasionally still sees one of our early classmates, Nicola Catania.
But Catania was excommunicated.
Not from Angelo's heart.
Are you perhaps speaking of someone else's interests? Your cardinals of the same age?
My only interest, Your Eminence, is that of the Church. I certainly don't think I suit your needs. By the grace of God, I'm enjoying excellent health.
May I remind you, Your Eminence, that the majority required is 2/3 plus 1. The extra omnus will begin with Vespers tomorrow evening. From that moment on, the conclave must have no contact with the outside world.
Why does it say Commandant on the door?
Because normally this department is assigned to the commander of the Swiss Guards.
That's a good omen.
Do you need anything else before bed?
Just to pray.
conclave began on the 25th of October and lasted 4 days. You wrote then, "I nurture the hope of returning to my beloved Venice till the Lord beckons me." But your name kept coming up with insistence, with that of Cardinal Agajanian. "The ballots are like chickpeas dropping in boiling water," you said. You were uneasy in seeing your name when it fell to you to verify the ballots. On the 27th, the candidacy of Aloisi Marcella came forth, only to topple that afternoon to your advantage. On the 28th, you noted, "My poor name is up again. Oh, Lord, help me."
The one dressed in white. It's him. The one dressed in white. Like the host. Believe me. Believe me. Believe me. Believe me.
Annuncio vobis gaudium magnum.
Habemus.
Habemus Papa. Eminentissimum anche reverentissimum Dominum Angelum Iosephum Tante Romane Ecclesiae Cardinalem Roncalli. Qui tibi nomen imposuit Ioannes Vigesimum Tertium.
At 8:20, from the central loggia of St. Peter's Cathedral, in the glare of television projectors, you gave your first blessing. Nicola was also there among the crowd, shouting your name, saying you were the Pope of the suffering, of the rejected, of the derelict. Notwithstanding my odious words, they declared you Pope. Pope John, your chosen name. So dear to you, being your father's name, and that of the humble parish where you were baptized. As it is the name of those popes who had the briefest of papacies, because you knew you'd have little time, that you were a transitional choice. You felt abandoned. I sensed your fear. That fear, together with joy, that always descends in the heart of who has been chosen. Had you known what was clear to me, your heart would be at rest, John. For it wasn't just a pope who ascended the Lord's throne, but a great pope, a good pope.